Welcome back, everyone. It's 2:40 right now. This might be among the most disturbing stories of the day to talk about, but it's important to have this conversation. Right now, officials are seeking some victim information and really any more information about cameras that may have been in a Batavia chiropractor's office. There is an investigation underway. Dr. David Hansen is now charged with secretly recording nude videos of unsuspecting adults and children. Like I said, disturbing to say the least. Kane County State's Attorney Jamie Moser is on the line for me right now to talk about this investigation and where it stands, where we go from here. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Like I said, I mean, it's hard to talk about, but really important. As I understand, Dr. Hansen is now charged with producing child pornography, 5 counts of that, disseminating child pornography, 3 counts, possessing child pornography, 6 counts, and unauthorized video recording of a minor through or under the clothes, which is a Class 3 felony. How did you all get information about this case? How did you get clued in to what was happening?
In early September, we received a cyber tip through the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This happens on a regularly common basis because all of our providers like Yahoo, Google, when they suspect child pornography, they turn it over to the National Center, who then gives it to each state. Each state's Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force then funnel it down to the local departments. And so this actually went to the City of Batavia Police Department, who then began the investigation and then brought in my child exploitation unit to assist.
Wow. So when you, like you said, the tips may come in quite often, but when you actually get something that says, oh no, this actually, we're on to something here, how does it change the course for you all?
Well, in this particular one, most of the time we find people who are possessing child pornography, and it's known child pornography. As terrible as that is to say, there's child pornography that's oftentimes shared amongst the predators in these cases. As the investigation went ongoing, that's eventually where we found out that there may be recordings that were being made of these patients. And we learned of that through the search warrant that actually happened through his business. And so that kind of escalated everything of what we're doing, which is why we're seeking information from the public to see if they were individuals who had services through the chiropractic center and who may have been in a particular room, a red light therapy room, so that we can start to identify people who are on the at least 186 videos that we've been able to locate so far.
That is wild. 186 patients that were either undressed or in some form of an unclothed stage, and these victims range in age, like I said, from children to adults. And how was he achieving this?
So this was through hidden cameras within the therapy room. We actually were loaned the services of a dog through Lake County whose specialty is to kind of sniff out electronic devices. And so the dog actually sniffed out towards fans, where we then saw hidden cameras were contained in there. And so that's how the recordings were able to be made without people knowing what was happening.
You know, I remember when the case with Erin Andrews really became just a massive deal, with people then saying, wait, I need to, how can I find a hidden camera? And really a sense of paranoia even about, you know, is a camera here? Is a camera there? You know, when you go to a hotel or something of that nature, what is your advice to people about the vulnerabilities that exist?
Well, and so there's really no way to prevent this from happening, especially when you go to somebody who's trusted in the community. I do truly believe that the majority of the people that we have who are our doctors and chiropractors and nurses are great people. And this is the aberration that we've seen in terms of this particular individual. I think the best thing is always to remain vigilant when you're in a hospital, if you think, or a hotel and you think something, look into it. If you have questions about it or you feel like something's going on, notify local law enforcement, because that's our job. Our job is to look into it to make sure that people are not being perpetrated on like they were here.
Yeah, and if people think that maybe they have been a victim or in any type of situation, but especially in this particular case, if they know of this particular practice, the Hansen Family Chiropractic in Batavia, and they've been to that location, what do they need to do?
So right now we have two forms or ways of being able to contact us. Our hotline number is 630-444-3322. Now this is something where you're leaving messages for, and if it has a message that the message box is full, it's because we're getting so many, we're taking them out, we're reviewing them. We will get back to everybody who leaves a message. It just may not be immediate. But there's also an email address, which is SAO Victim Hotline at kanecountyil.gov. We have multiple people who are going through all of the voicemails that we're getting, as well as the emails, to be able to get in touch with them as soon as possible. But we're receiving at least hundreds at this point.
Wow. And of course, he hasn't been, proven guilty at this point in time. But do we know whether he had any type of priors that would speak to where we are today?
So no, he had no criminal history whatsoever, but we did see, and this is a big distinction between him and some of our child sex abuse material possessors, he had the known child abuse material, so normal child pornography, and I hate to say normal, but what we've seen before with predators in his home. It's just he went the next step now of making his own pornography, not only with children, but also with adults, by these recordings that no one knew about or obviously gave consent to. So that alone screams the level of what he was doing in terms of our community.
Yeah. How long do you think this had been going on?
So we don't know yet. There's a lot of information that we found, and some of it is encrypted. We have brilliant forensic analysts who are helping us out. We're going through each of the videos, every SD card we found, laptops, computers, cell phone. So it's going to take a while before we know the full extent of it. But it could go back years as far as we know at this point.
And technology moves so fast. You mentioned information being encrypted. How hard does it make your job that people who may be involved in things that are nefarious can just find these different avenues to hide them?
Well, it's extremely difficult. And the problem is a lot of this is easily accessible to people. So you have websites like Discord that allows the easy passage of child pornography amongst these predators. But there's ways even to hide things further on the dark web, use of encryption to hide recording devices. So it makes it difficult, but not impossible. I'm very confident in not only the Batavia Police Department, who started this investigation, but also my child exploitation unit, which specializes in going after individuals like this, and our forensic analysts, that we're going to be able to break into everything and find the true extent of what he's done.
Yeah. What do you say to people in Batavia or other places where, a place like Batavia, you may not have a whole lot of cases like this, who maybe feel a little safer in that area, and then you have something like this that just kind of shakes you at your core because it's a person that people have been around on a regular basis?
So the sad reality is that perpetrators like this hide in plain sight. So they're people who we trust: doctors, police officers, lawyers, politicians, teachers, daycare providers. The child exploitation unit that we started in 2022 has gotten over 40 different people within our community. What I want the people in Batavia and all of Kane County to know is that we are actively seeking these individuals out. If people are peddling child pornography and harming our community, we are going to find them, we're going to put them in jail, and they're going to be brought to justice. But if they see something, that's what we need to know. If they suspect something is going on, if they have any type of information where they think someone's being harmed or someone's doing something like this, please reach out to us, because we will do our best to get those individuals off the street.
Yeah, okay, and he's been detained. What happens next in the case?
So what's next is he'll get an attorney. I assume they'll attempt to appeal the detainment order. We're going to fight that every step of the way. It's going to be us turning over voluminous amounts of discovery. I want the victims who are potentially on these videos to understand that that doesn't mean anyone in the public is going to get this. This is going to be very much contained, and people in the public are not going to see this. And then we're going to get towards either a trial or a plea of guilty from this individual, but it's going to take probably a couple of years before we see the end to this particular nightmare.
Wow. Okay. Well, I certainly appreciate your hard work on a regular basis, especially on this case, bringing it to this point. And please, please keep us updated on where things go from here. I certainly hope that people have heard your words and they will heed your advice in terms of coming forward with more information.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for giving us the opportunity to put this message out.
Absolutely, anytime.